Hello, my name is Ronald Hubbard. I live in Westford. I am an artist, a painter. I have been painting since I was about 17 years old, so that's a long time. My education, I went to Boston University School of Fine Arts from 1980 to 1984. Lived in Boston for a while, and then I've lived out in this area ever since. I'm working these days in mainly watercolor, oils sometimes, but mainly watercolor. My recent work is really about the things I live with, the things that I see every day, trying to find the beauty in them and seeing, because that's what I believe in. I believe that you can see anything to be beautiful if you can see it. And I want to do that. I want to show that to people. I want people to be able to find the beauty all around them and appreciate it. So an example of that, two examples of that I'm proud of. I'm proud of all of them, but these are my daughter's carrots. We grow these carrots every year, and these were right out of the garden. I pulled them up, brought them in the house, put them on the table, and I had to paint them. So those are my daughter Sarah's carrots. I thought, can you find beauty in a bottle of Market Basket cooking oil? Yes, you can. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to paint that because I saw that. So those are two examples of what I'm talking about, and I hope that you'll be able to see that in all of my work. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jack McCrossan. I'm a photographer from Groton, and these are some of my photographs that I have on display today. All of these prints have been printed on, all the materials used in the print are archival, the ink, the mats, the papers. Everything about it is designed to last a very long time, and there's a special paper that I use that I loved because it brings out the color and the light and some detail that you don't always get with photographic prints. My approach to photography is always, I guess it's really evolved to the point where my number one goal is to elicit a feeling from the viewer. And I think a good example of that might be this scene over here, which I took up in Rye, New Hampshire. And it was a very cold, freezing rain that was blowing almost horizontal. The ocean was out behind, there's a storm coming in, and there's a loud roar. This was a quiet side street, and there was literally no one around. So I was standing there, and I was kind of overwhelmed with the feeling of loneliness. And that's when I started thinking about photography. I spent time composing and think about, how do I convey that feeling? How do I convey the feeling that I have right now? And if I can't think of a way, I just move on. And I think it'll apply to every one of these pictures that I have over here, if I can go this far. This is in South Woodstock, Vermont. I had spent the entire morning walking around dirt roads, looking for something to take a picture of. And I came across this, and my feeling at the time was just so peaceful and relaxing and quiet. I wanted to try to convey that in my photograph. So that influences my composition, it influences the subjects, and my goal is, I'm happy that I feel like I've succeeded when someone looks at a picture and says, oh, I feel peace here, I feel loneliness over there, I feel cold. And that pretty much sums up my approach to photography. My pictures are mostly New England. I have probably just as many in Boston as I do throughout New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, and Massachusetts in general. But I tend to focus on this beautiful part of the country.
I'm Alice Phalen. I live in Westford, and I come originally from New York City. I cannot remember a time when I did not draw, and I have been a painter forever. I studied art undergraduate and graduate school. The work behind me is all recent, and some of the pieces were done on site. I work in acrylic, oil, pastel, pen and ink, and pencil. Working on site is very challenging. It's like a contact sport. In fact, the two very green ones, here and here, were all done on site. So you're constantly thinking about, what am I seeing? What can I put in the picture? What wants to be in the picture? Because you see everything, but you have to make a picture. It's greatly challenging. And also the wind that's blowing over your easel doesn't help either. These three round ones are quite recent. I did them all in January. And they are based on photographs and drawings that I've done. I worked in round just because to see how it was to compose in round. I liked it very much. Marcello's Garden, the harbor in Gouac off Brittany, and this wonderful elm tree in a little village in the Languedoc in France. And my partner named it the elephant tree. It's an elm, actually, but it's very old and very many-branched. Now, I do take photographs as well as drawing. This is the photograph of the elm, photograph of the harbor at Gouac, photo of Marcello's garden. Then I worked up pastels of each to decide what the composition would be, how I wanted to position things. Pastel is intensely vibrant, and it's a great way to decide how you're going to handle the paint. The elm, the harbor, the garden. I would say that each of these took easily 7 to 8 days. I didn't work all at once. I had several of them in work at the same time, and I would walk back and forth between them.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Hurman. I live in Westford, Massachusetts. My work is mostly mixed media and collage. I moved to Westford about 24 years ago and took various different classes. I realized that Westford is pretty rich with artists and classes, so I sort of started playing around with different medias, and a couple of years ago, I think it was during COVID, I kind of had dropped things, and then during COVID took the brushes out again and started exploring, and went to an exhibit at the MFA, Equa Holmes, who does really amazing portraiture and collage work, and got super hooked on it, using a lot of different materials and a lot of big collage work. And that sort of gave me a lot of inspiration to start playing around again, and kind of just have consistently been creating work. I don't really have a method per se. I think every piece, I don't have an end goal. I often start with mark making and dropping some color on a canvas and just seeing where that's going to go. And so sometimes it'll be a quick journey to the end product, maybe a couple of days, and then other times it's a week-long process. So it's just, each piece is like a journey in itself. And I often do go out in the garden. I'll find pieces from garden material, natural materials from plant material, and use that. And there's one little piece here at the end where I found some beautiful, vibrant little red maple leaves, and introduced that into a piece to create on the way to Grandma's house. So that's really, my story.